So we're going to start off with paging. Now, paging is a technique used to divide large data sets into smaller, more manageable chunks or pages. Now, up until now, we haven't really dealt with any large data, but I'm sure we can all agree that this has a potential to store a lot of data because there are a lot of countries and there are a lot of hotels per country. So, can you imagine trying to load 10,000 records all at once? That's not very smart. So paging helps to improve performance and user experience by loading a subset at a time. This reduces the amount of data that is sent over the network, and it improves the responsiveness of the application by avoiding the need to load all of the data at once. All right, so now we're in Visual Studio and we want to start our development. So what I'm going to do is in our common project and models, I'm going to create a new model, and actually I'm going to create it in a folder. So I'm going to say paging, and remember I did say that we would end up with more models and probably need to subcategorize them. So like JWT settings is more like a config model. So I'm actually just going to do this refactor right now, where I'm going to say config as the folder, move JWT settings into that folder, and of course I'll just change the namespace here so that everywhere that references it gets the correct namespace. So for paging, I'm going to add a new class, and I'm going to call this class Pagination Parameters. So after changing the namespace to a scope namespace, I am now going to just paste code that I already have and walk you through what I'm doing. So I'm defining a constant int called max page size, and I'm setting this to 50. So this is the maximum that a page will ever be able to return, the maximum number of records that a page will ever return. Then we're also going to say that the page size is set to 10, which means that by default, this is 10. So if they don't provide a request for X number of records, then we're going to return 10. So this pagination parameters is actually going to be used as a model to request or be added to the requests, so that they can provide a page number and a page size. So we're defaulting the page number to be 1. And of course, I'm just setting a range validation to make sure that it's between 1 and some max value. And we're doing the same thing for the max page size, or rather for the page size. But here, I'm setting that the range must be between 1 and the max page size. So the value must be between 1 and 50, or whatever value we have there. So on initialization, we're going to get the default page size of 10. But then when the value is being set, we're checking if the value is greater than max page size, which technically it will never be because we have that range. But if for whatever reason, this is initialized manually and the max or the page size that is being set is greater than max page size, then we're going to default to max page size. Otherwise, we can use the value. So here we're giving them the flexibility of requesting more than the default 10, but no greater than 50. Now I'm going to go ahead and create another model or two other models, and I'll just do them right here in the same file, and then we can separate them later on. So I have public class paged result of type T. Type T here is a generic. So whatever data type we pass in, we want a paged result. All right. And then that's going to have the data, which is just a collection of the data of type T. And we also have the pagination metadata. So remember that I discussed that the metadata will indicate certain things like, and we have that class defined, the page you're currently on, the page size that is being returned, the total count, the total number of pages, and if there is a next and a previous. So all of these fields or properties rather kind of give context as to here's where you are in the larger data set, and Can you go back? Can you go forward? Is there more data to see? Is there less data than you think there is? So now what we want is a standard way to always return page results without needing to rewrite the code every single time we run a query. So what I'm going to do is in the models folder, I'm going to add a new folder and we're going to call it extensions. And we're going to write an extension class and method for iQueryables. So let us go ahead and add this new class, and I'm calling it queryable extensions. And we're going to modify this a bit. Firstly, let me modify the namespace, and this is going to be a public static class, because extension methods are going to be static classes. Now, when we say extension method, what we're doing is we're targeting a data type and we're writing a custom function. So think of a function like toString, right? That is technically an extension method, but you may need to override it or you need to customize it for a particular data type. So in this case, we're targeting iQueryable, and I have the method prepared. Hit pause, replicate it, but I'm going to go through it line by line with you. So we have a public static method, and if it is asynchronous, then of course you indicate same. You specify what the data type that is going to be returned is, and you give it a name. But in the parameters, you're going to say this and then the target data type. So this method is targeting anything that is an iQueryable, which means once you're dealing with an iQueryable data type, you can call this method. And we're also passing in the pagination parameters to it. So we're targeting this data type and it's accepting this value, and it can have a list of values as needed. We get the total count. Then we go through the items. So we're accumulating the items rather, and we say await source dot skip. So we have skip and we have take. Skip here means that we're going to look at the pagination parameters dot page number and -1 from it. So if we're on page 1, then this will equate to 0. And then we multiply whatever this value is times the page size. So we're skipping 0 times a potential of 50, which means we're skipping 0 when we're on page 1. Then we're going to take, which means give me a number, and that's the only set of records I'm going to actually select. So take is going to take page size. So skip none and take up to 50 based on whatever value we get for page size. Then when page 1 is gone to, what we're saying, or page 2 rather, then this is now 1, and we're going to skip 50 or whatever page size is and take 50. So in other words, skip 50, take 50, and that's just how it's going to go. That's just how it's going between these two. And of course, we're just equating or terminating that statement with the toList operation. Then we're getting the total number of pages, which is basically an operation to say, give me the total number of records and divide it by the page size. That's the total number of pages. But we're also rounding up. So math.ceiling rounds up. And of course, we want a rounded number because this division might give us a decimal. But after we've done all of that operation, the next thing is to get the metadata compiled. So now we say metadata is equal to new pagination metadata, which is our model that we created in the previous lesson. And we're going to say the current page we're on is the page number, because that was passed over in the request. Then we're going to say page size, the count, pages, has next. So has next is basically just saying, is there a next page? Has previous is basically the same thing. So has next is saying, give me the page number. Is it less than the total number of pages? Well, if yes, then if it is less than, then yes, there's a next page. If not, then there are no more pages. And has previous is pretty much just saying, is the page number greater than 1? So if it's greater than 1, that means you're no longer on page 1, so there must be a previous page. So that's our metadata. And then ultimately we return a new page result of type T containing the data and the metadata. And that will basically be our our JSON object and response that we return to whoever is calling the API. Now we're going to turn our attention to all of the booking service methods that pretty much return some collection. So anything that returns a collection is a candidate to be refactored to return the paged result. So let us start off with the get bookings for hotel async. And I'm going to change this return type from result of type IEnumerable to be result of type paged result of booking DTO. And of course, if I update the implementation, I have to update the declaration. So here we go. I'll just update this quickly, and then we can jump back over to the implementation method, which is going to need some modification. So we check if the hotel exists, and then we return a failure of type result, and I can just make that quick update here. Now the rest of our refactor is going to be very simple. Of course, we need to update the return types or the value of what is being returned, but bookings is now going to have a little facelift. First of all, we are not going to do to list async, but we can simply say to paged result async. And that is simply because this is an extension method on the iQueryable, which is basically what all of this is going to amount to. Now, this requires pagination parameters, which means we need to add that as a parameter here to the method. So that needs to be added there. And you see, that's how easy it was to convert this to a paged result. So now we're back in the controller and we're starting off in that hotel bookings controller. You see that we have the error, of course, that is expected. So the return type here has to change to page results, but we also need to add some more parameters because we are from root getting just the hotel ID. Well, we also need to get the pagination parameters from query, and we'll see when we're testing what query means, but query is the query string, right? So once this comes in, we need to pass that along to our service method, and I'm going to go and send the get request to get all of the admin bookings because I logged in as a hotel admin. So when I send this request, so we have one giant JSON object, and in that JSON object we have data. Now notice that data is an array. So data contains the actual data, and then metadata tells us that we only have one page. The page size is 10. There are 2 records, so 1 page, and there's no next and there's no previous.